There we go. Can you hear me now? There we go. Great. There we go. All right. What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investors. Sorry for a little bit of the rough start here. We had a little bit of technical issues, having a little bit wind here, and looking for the internet kind of blipping in and out. And of course, I had to restart the whole system, and that kind of, I guess, muted my microphone for some whatever reasons, which I thought I checked again. So yeah, let's take a looky-loo on a couple things. Alpacas here. What's up, John? King of Shorts, Dave. Dave, did you hear that price of insulin? They're putting a cap to it. Was that like passed throughout? Like, is that a law now? I was reading about that. I didn't go into the greatest detail. Ryan, what's up, dude? Kelly D, full-time ape, what's up? Nelson, former sinner. That's a lot. That's awesome. What is it? TRCH, is that like trending on Wall Street Bets? So we have to just look at the Wall Street go to the little channel here. Then we're gonna go to Wall Street Bets, real-time sentiment. Let's see, top YOLOs, ticker sentiment. Here we go. I'm not seeing that. So this is what we use, what I look at for, what's ME? I never heard of an ME. Is that a new one? Are they're just going after this one, ME? What is ME? It's not MasterCard, is it? No. Oh, 23 and Me. That's the one. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that came public. That's new. Great for them. Not gonna give them my saliva. Okay, let's go to TRCH. Torchlight Energy Resources. Okay. Is this to do with some of the stuff that's going out in Texas and stuff? Because this looks like it did nothing for years. Got down to 20 cents last year, and now it's up to $6. This is definitely a short squeeze. I don't see it. It wasn't on the Reddit sentiment counter, so yeah. This is interesting. Let's see what if we can look at some just very basic fibs on this one. From swing high to swing low. Of course, we reached that 579 here, which is a Fibonacci level, and then the 618. Sorry, the 1618, which is around $7, will be the next level. We do see Torchlight Energy Resources go through the roof. So this is what is definitely something that could be gangbusters, as they say in the business, and really kind of bursting higher here. The next level on the Fibonacci tree is really seeing the $10 range. So this is really in a short squeeze, which most people understand of, like, it's kind of like how we look at a black hole. We just don't quite understand on what happens after something goes beyond the horizon of a black hole. So once that does happen, it just kind of goes into we don't know state. So that's basically the way I kind of look at it. Short squeezes. We don't really know what's going to happen. Like it's the short squeezes are very temperamental. We don't know if they're going to be giving us a hissy fit or they're just going to give us a big boom kind of bang kind of party and just kind of riding up here. So very, very careful on this one, ladies and gentlemen, for sure. But it definitely looks like a jump up, kind of potentially consolidating around that 6 to 580 level. It maybe gets that next little jolt higher. Yeah, sorry for being muted. I had a little bit of technical issues and a little bit of issues with the internet. It's kind of been going hit and miss. We're having a little bit of some storms here in Virginia again. Yeah, so yeah, appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the show so far. Greatly appreciate it. Ryan, what's up, my dude? Yeah, TRCH, a short squeeze coming. It sounds like a lot of people have been talking about it. Interesting. Let's see here. Did I miss a couple? Kelly D's SPWR. Let's look at that one. SPWR. SunPower. Yeah, these solar stocks have been really beaten up for sure. This thing has definitely come down quite a bit here. I do like the consolidation here, Kelly, honestly. It has been nicely consolidating on around that 144 EMA here. So that 2650 to 27-ish range would be potentially to see a breakout. Where I would like to really see it back up to would be that $30 range. Would really got to get that momentum going and seeing it burst back up within that range there. But yeah, it's got a pretty strong base here in the short term around 25, but some stronger support coming in around $22.39. Trey Subway Cup going all in on AMC and TRCH tomorrow. Yeah, TRCH. Okay, definitely. I put it in my notes here, ladies and gentlemen. You can see I wrote it on the notepad. What I check every morning to make sure that I'm not crazy. Definitely going to be going to the moon, they say. All right, let's see how it goes. Yeah, Val did get it somewhat of a hit, like a lot of these mining companies, Ryan. Again, it was just fear of the inflation and then really just the underlying price of commodities. I think the trend is still pretty much intact here. We're seeing that, again, that orange line, which is the 34 EMA, has been somewhat of support here in the past. So continuously going forward, we're going to be looking for that to kind of hold that levels here on to see if it does get a bounce there around that 34 EMA here. So we'll see on how that one plays out. Again, we've been playing this for quite some time here, so it's been an excellent little a market for this one, because again, we bought into this one fairly. I went heavy into it around that $17 to $15 range, but we had it even way back when trending it even last year. Johnny Jacob says, I just sold 50 shares of J&J I've held for a while. More Tesla shares if it dips more. Yay. Yeah, Tesla for sure. You know, we love that stock here on the channel here. Tesla, again, fantastic company. It's kind of been in that chop weird mode, kind of going down here. But looking at the understanding of people being a little bit more hesitant on growth, the hesitant on really a lot of other companies getting into the market of EVs. We're seeing Ford going full steam, GM. We got the folks over across the pond, aka Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz. The more luxury brands are doing things over there with BMW, Mercedes, and of course the Volkswagen, which means like an everyman's car, basically the Ford or the GM of the most of Europe and the world as well, getting into the car business of EVs. But you have to remember, most of their balance sheets are still ICE motors, and really not the full capacity of what Tesla have was full self-driving. And guess what? They don't have a car that can go from 0 to 60 under 2 seconds, okay? And still take you to Costco, buy toilet paper rolls, paper towel rolls, milk, dog food, diapers, and every other thing you want, some steaks and burgers and buns. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, Tesla, looking at the chart here, it has been having a little bit of resistance around that 625-ish range. We're seeing it a little bit kind of bouncing here. It's kind of like it better prove itself this week, and really seeing it does kind of go. Yeah, the Taycan or the Porsche Taycan definitely looks sick, but it's a little bit further out of my price range without a doubt. This is something that I want to look at here with Tesla, just kind of see if it can really kind of start getting back above that 625, or if it just wants to hang around at 625. Tesla, for some times, usually likes to hang around for a price range for weeks at a time, and you have to be very patient in that sense on that one. Let's see here. A lot of people are talking about that TRCH. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll just talk about it real fast again. So TRCH, I have no idea what this company does. It's some kind of like an energy company. We can kind of look at the analysis. Torchlight Energy Resource, or Torchlight, it's an energy company. The energy company is engaged in acquisition, exploring, and or development of oil and natural gas products in the United States. The company is primarily focused on the acquisition of early stage projects. Okay, so they're very risque, as they can say in the business. You're seeing this volume kind of come in here today, or the last week, I'm sorry. And look at that amount of volume on a daily average. So we flip over to this chart here. We're seeing the average daily volume for the last like 20-ish days was very low here. Again, it was quite low before that squeeze. You're seeing that really kind of ramp up here. We had over 273 million shares traded on one day. That's definitely, I want to say a pump and dump. It's definitely something that's gone parabolic. I don't know the story. You can put whatever headline you want to put on it, but it's definitely something that has gone completely gangbusters and gone to a rocket ship. It has broken past its previous movement here, so it does have some validity on that. It could grow higher, like we talked about that $7 range being a potential breakout. If it does hit $7, it can easily hit $10.60 to around that $11 range if that squeeze does really play out like a lot of people say. Again, people are talking about 20%, looks like butt plug says 26% short interest and has a huge catalyst coming on a class 101 dividend in the end of the week. It'll break $10 by Wednesday. Sure. If you're from the future, great. Probability speaking of that happening, we can look at the options market and seeing how that was more likely or less likely to happen. But who knows in this times, especially with, again, everyone loves a short squeeze, and what is the flavor this week to kind of see on what stock is the short squeeze. So speaking of short squeezes, some folks talked about AMC. This sucker is still kind of holding here. We're seeing these again. This is the 8 EMA here. That's the purple line. It has held this pretty well here. It has come down to that line, hit it pretty hard, and kind of bouncing back. We're finding that between the like 54 to 55 to that 57 range, 50 is basically kind of creating some level of short-term support. Again, with this kind of squeeze and this momentum, those supports are not very significant at times because, again, it's a little bit of loosey-goosey. And if there's enough people who are just want to go negative, or they want to go over to this shiny new light over here, aka torchlight, or they want to go over here to go back into GME, like it could be a little bit of a choppy ride, especially with the Fed speaking. And historically, this week is very choppy going into the end of this month. Johnny says, thank you for the $5, my friend. Any thoughts on some folks talking about a crash? I hope not. I don't think so either. I don't know if there's going to be, I don't think there's going to be a crash. So the best way to kind of like, again, who knows? We can have an airstrike going on or some kind of conflict starting, and then the market could crash for whatever reasons. Or we can find out that our currency is actually made from human hair, and who knows? Like, you can go down the endless list of crazy ideas that could happen. So with the futures market, again, we're looking at the S&P 500. We have kind of broken past that 34 EMA here. I kind of want to break this down just a little bit more to the 4-hour chart. I know this looks like quite a bit here, but it kind of tells a little bit of a better movement here. I think that if we do see a pullback, let me use the SPY because I want to use the big numbers. So looking here at the SPY here, there's a couple key levels that I want to highlight here, especially some Fibonacci levels here. Again, they're not always solid. The SPY came down exactly to that $413 level here and kind of made a pretty significant bounce. We can potentially hold here for a little bit of time here, but with this this action that we saw, especially into Friday here, and just like really heavy selling for whatever reasons, even the Fed saying that they're not going to be doing much of anything, and people are drawing conclusions, saying that they're idiots. They're saying that they don't know what they're doing. They're putting the economy in jeopardy, but they have their mandates that they have to follow, and so forth. So I think you have to go with whatever they say, right? Like, that is the Fed. Like, they have spoken. This is the way. Again, that 413 is pretty significant short-term support within the SPY, but If we do kind of break past that, we can easily hit 410, and even some stronger support coming in would be around that 408. So if we see some more continuous selling in red days, especially for the next 2 or 3 days, which again, historically speaking, does happen. So this is from the Stock Traders Almanac for 2021. This is again, it does kind of break down some statistics on the side on like a daily basis, and it kind of goes down to if it's going to potentially be a bearish day, what has the in after. So there's some interesting facts here. So after June triple witching, the Dow is down 27 of the last 31 times, 31 years, on an average since 1990 of about 1%. So where would that put us from another 1% downward move? Again, they're talking about the Dow, but that's so from this little tippy top here that we saw just earlier, about less than a week ago, from down here, we've already corrected nearly 3%. So if we want to do another little bit, that would be putting us around that 410 to 409 range. And then from there, I could definitely see that range coming back down here to around that 407. And again, that 5% correction usually feels right for me. So if we do hit that 407, I would be hitting potentially, for me in my short-term plays, I want to hit that potentially that buy, and we'll just have, again, we'll just look at the overall sentiment at the time of day. But if the cards are falling and people are jumping out windows and things like that, of course that'd be a little bit harder to buy that. But yeah. Ryan's asking for Docu. Yeah, let's look at Docu. Oh, did I spell that right? Was it? You look at DocuSign. Yeah, Okay, there we go. Let's go back to the daily chart. Yeah, this one been doing phenomenally well, right? Like it's just been, after its last quarter, it's just been really just kind of riding up here. It's just been, I've missed this one for sure. We talked about it a little bit. And now we're seeing it kind of break past that previous level here on 270 here, 268. The next level is going to be, of course, hitting around that 290 range there. So this is going to be something that we need to be well aware about. So that's going to be its all-time previous high here. So if we go, let me go to the weekly chart to kind of give you some historical averages here. We're seeing this again. This is a move that we've seen really kind of compound over a long period of time, of course, being with the lockdowns and so forth. We're seeing this really hit that 290 range, and now got a little bit of chop, got some pullback, but that really strong support here around 192, and again some stronger some short-term support around 235. So keeping an eyes on that. I think in the short term, if it does pull back here, we're going to be looking for some support around 250 to 253. But that's not going to be your strongest support. So that stronger support is going to be coming around that 235 range if it does pull back. But this is some pretty astonishing moves, while everything else has been fairly kind of hit and just kind of been like forgotten about. It's just been a stock that's been doing very well, because again, a lot of people are like, oh, Docu and Zoom are both of these pandemic stocks, but Zoom hit that high, but it hasn't really seen much of anything from like how Docu's doing, because the thing is, Docu is, people continue to grow because it literally has changed everyone's lives, and Zoom has changed their lives too, but a lot of people have already gone back to the office and so forth. So Lion Circle, so what do you think about the quad witching play a role of last week or Friday? Yeah, so you can call it a pit bull low, they kind of call it as well. There's some trades that you can kind of play out sometimes on the week prior when people try to roll and things like that. It didn't really play out this time very well on the previous week, but it definitely kind of played out that Thursday into Friday. So again, if you're not familiar with that, it's when they have to roll the weeklies, the quarterlies, the monthly contracts, and they have to be rolled into the front month. And this is what we have to look at to kind of see how it plays out. So initially speaking, SPY, if it want to continue to not hold here around that 415 to 413, we can easily see it come back down to that 410 to even 47 if it hits that in those ranges there. AKA says people SPY will break down to 470, 407. We'll see, right? Again, the expected move for SPY this week, what the options market is giving it, is basically a $10 move. So yeah, I think it can break down to that level. It's within the options market's probability. Yo, what do you think about MU will continue to go down? MU, please. Thank you for your manners, my friend. MU, of course, this is Micron. Again, this has kind of broken the trend here. We're seeing again that 144 EMA here. What was the news on this one? Like, did it have some bad news? Again, I don't follow this one completely. But this is definitely something that kind of has broken past that 144 EMA here, which is around that $80 range. It has broken past that and it's kind of been sinking lower here a little bit. Historically speaking, it has some short-term support around $76 to $75. But if it really wants to come back down, that's going to have a little bit stronger support around 70. It's going to be kind of going into the unknown part of the galaxy, aka Enterprise, its way through here, and seeing it kind of bounce here around $70 potentially if it does get to that level. In the short term, with the market volatility, I think it potentially could come down to 70, but once the shorter dated moving averages here, my friend, they are definitely going to be looking for the 34 and 8 crossing through this line. That potentially could kind of do like a crisscross applesauce, no fun for your kind of stock scenario. Just joking on that little poem. But with earnings coming out, I just noticed that I'm a little bit hesitant on it. And seeing how it plays out. One analyst lowered his price target. Honestly, that seems kind of stupid to me. Honestly, that's my honest opinion on that. If an analyst just kind of has that power, maybe he's warning his folks to buy the stock. He gave the bad analyst. I know they say they don't talk to the other side of the house, to whatever. I don't believe that shit. That was whatever. Especially with earnings coming out at the end of the month here, this definitely could be something that I am very familiar with like Netflix, where an analyst, I don't forget the analyst's name, but every single time, a week or 2 weeks before earnings, he would come out and just say some BS about Netflix, how it's not growing in the countries, they have to raise their subscription fees, their content is stale, blah blah blah, and it just kind of gets spattered there. Anyways, we'll see on how this one plays out, but my initial levels here, if I want to buy into it, you have to be a little bit risky here, because as of right now, in the short term, that doesn't have some support here. But if we go to the weekly side, it has a little bit of support here, because that is that 34 EMA here. But if it does break, we're going to be potentially looking for $70 there, my friend. Let's see here. Let's see. I missed a couple here. Twilio, Square. I don't know Twilio very well, but that's kind of been falling. So Square, I actually like Square here. It has been very choppy here. We had that 144 EMA potentially kind of come in for some support here. Got a little bit of a bid more than others of last week. Kind of broke back above 230 here again. Above that 144 EMA. If it does pull back, we're going to be looking for some short-term support around that 227 to 230, and even some stronger support if we do see a pullback for the rest of the week around 220 to 216. Some next targets that potentially see to the upside. Of course, that all-time high is a little bit further away, around 283, but potentially looking for around that 255 to 260 range. For the expected move for the week, again, that does have weekly options, is around $11.70. Let's just call it $12 because we're all friends here. That could put it back up potentially to that 250 range, which is a nice round number, which we've kind of seen a little bit of chop there before. Can I make a video on TRCH? Maybe, if I have the time. Dave is looking for XLI. Yeah, this has definitely got a pullback here with this is industrials, right? Really seeing it kind of pull back. This is very familiar to like a lot of the Dow stocks. this is very kind of like a pretty significant pullback here. You can see here that it did have a pretty nice trend here for the most part here, holding that 34 EMA here. Now we're seeing the 8 cross through the 34 EMA and kind of free fall here a little bit. Just like the stock we just talked about with MU, it significantly speaking, it does not have much support here. We can kind of draw a potential Fibonacci extensions here from the swing high to low to high here again. And it's looking like that $100-ish could be some support, but some more significant support definitely coming in around 98 would be I consider some short-term support, and some stronger support coming in around $95 to $96 level there. That's also a Fibonacci number and a previous Fibonacci low here, and the 144 EMA. So if this does pull back, we're going to be looking for some prices potentially. Doesn't have to happen, but this would be a pretty strong, significant level of support there, Dave. You're also looking for SENS. Yes, I own some of that as well. Yeah, looking at this one as well here. This has kind of been somewhat stagnant. Looking for that $3.57 range. Looking to kind of hold. That's a Fibonacci level from the previous low to high. Excuse me. Drink some more coffee. Initially some short-term support around that $3.50-ish range. If that does kind of get jerked around here a little bit, we're going to be looking for some more substantial support around 295 to around 278 for that level of support here. But then again, we're going to be coming if it does pull back, because again, if these kind of stocks, if they do pull back, they pull back pretty fast here. So really have some pretty significant price alerts out on not just one or two bases, but definitely on multiple levels, because again, if this stock does pull back, it's going to be really fast. As you can see here, it did kind of make it push up to that $4.44, but guess what? It failed once again. Maybe could be kind of spooling back up here to potentially get that move higher. We would like to see some more significant volume kind of coming in here to kind of boost it up and kind of give it a kick in the rear here to kind of see it boost back up to that range there, but potentially looking for some consolidation going forth there. But hey, Ken, what do you think about Root? What is Root? I know Groot. I never heard of this one. Interesting. It looks like it came live last year and has been pretty beaten down here. I have no idea what this company does. Let's see what it does. Root is a holding company. The holding company through Root Insurance Company operates as an insurance company. The company is a direct-to-consumer personal auto insurance renters mobile technology company. The company operates through providing a direct-to-consumer insurance products to consumers. So it sounds kind of like a Lemonade kind of scenario. It's kind of been a little choppy here. Looks like it had a pretty insane amount of volume on this day. So this is what you're maybe potentially looking for, that catalyst or some kind of, I don't know if this was news or this was just like it got on Wall Street Bets or some short squeeze information or whatever. But looking at this one, it has been very much trending down here on the daily chart here. We are seeing some level of resistance around that $9.95 to around $9.20 to potentially, if it does kind of bounce here. As you can see here, it hit that 144 EMA multiple times. Actually, let me actually get my Epic pen out, and I can kind of highlight that for you folks in a better manner. Let's see here. What color should we do today? I'm feeling orange. Okay, orange. So you can see it here. And multiple times here. So you had it here and here and here. It never really got past that the 144 EMA here. So if it does kind of consolidate in around that $10 to $9 range, that next level to kind of see it break out would be around that $14 range. Would be a pretty tough sign to kind of see if it does a breakthrough that there. Yar. Okay. Let's keep on going, ladies and gentlemen. And you're very welcome. Fastly, yes, we haven't talked about that one forever. That was a a crazy 2022 stock for sure. This thing is kind of coming back here. I don't know, V, if you asked this one a couple weeks ago. We did highlight it potentially holding that $40 range. It has held, but as of right now, again, let me highlight this range. That $40 range was a potential holding here. Now, we talked about its first really significant level of resistance was that $60 to $58 range. We are seeing that kind of come through here. We want to see that continuous movement and positivity and this kind of influx of upward momentum. That next level we're going to be looking for is around $67 to around $70 to potentially see if that can hit that range there. If it doesn't look at, we're going to be looking for some short-term support around $53 to $53.50 to see if we can kind of see some support level hold there. I'm not sure the whole story again, what's happening on Fastly and so forth, but this definitely potentially could be kind of a breakout kind of consolidation and just kind of ruminate for a little bit before we see any movement up or down. So be careful on that one. Ken, is Costco sponsoring you yet? No, not yet. Free paper cup. I know. I'm drinking Costco coffee here. I bought this at Costco. It's the water and the ice that was in this cup. It came from Costco, so I bought the refrigerator from Costco. They haven't sponsored me yet, but a boy can dream, right? Let's see here. You're looking at ES. Yeah, the ES. We talked about this one just a little bit here. Free paper cuts. We talked about it more on the SPY scenario. So we're looking for around 4,130-ish to kind of hold here in the short term, but we can easily see it potentially go lower to around the 4,100 to 4,095 range if we do see a pretty significant pullback into this week. What's up, Makeshift? You're welcome, V. NASCAR All Out, is Archon still hasn't bounced? Yeah, some stocks just don't. Some stocks just don't have a bounce. No idea what this company does, but that is a huge red flag in my book there, my friend. I don't know. I don't care what the company does. This is an Enron red flag for Ken here. This is something this is something I don't like to see. This is dangerous right here, this red flag. This is a huge red flag on a downward movement like this. Something bad happened over there. Theoretically speaking, we can kind of potentially see where things could potentially land from the previous swing high to low to high here. And it has some initial support here around this $4.33, but it's too much of a gap down and just too much of a red flag there for my friend to kind of call potential lower levels there. Again, that $4 range could be coming in here from those previous higher ticks that we saw of earlier this year. But yeah, that is something that just kind of just went out of favor and everyone just got out there real fast. Johnny Bravo, what's up, my friend? What up? Anyone has been asking about Workhorse today is trying to gauge sentiment based off how much I hear about it. Yeah, that's kind of difficult because, again, you have to kind of base it on, like, is it good stuff? Is it bad stuff? So Workhorse, definitely one that has been in the atmosphere quite a bit here. I wouldn't want to touch Workhorse with a 10-foot pole, but that's just my opinion. Even with the chart here, we're kind of seeing, again, we just talked about that Archon stock. Look at this one. This doesn't have the same kind of crazy downward move here. This just kind of get pummeled to the downside, again, because it didn't get that contract with USPS. Then continue to go lower here on this trend, breaking lower here. Got into like a really crazy low. You had Kathy Wood trying to buy in here and just kind of just talk about it some more, but then she got rid of it. Now it's kind of coming back with, for whatever reasons, I don't even know. But it's seeing some little level of resistance around that 1722 here. We'll see if that does kind of if we do see that breakout, can we see that level here? It did not hold here. and we also say that same level here from the previous swing low. So maybe we'll see on how this potentially could try to formulate and get into a pattern to break out. But if it doesn't, the trend, it's still in a very, very broken state here. It's going to take a long time to recover from this. And I don't have the fundamental understanding of Workhorse, my friend. But from what I do understand is they ain't much there. This shirt's from Costco too, actually, Kelly D. That's it. What's up? Johnny Bravo. Oh no, John is asking Johnny Bravo. Stay away from Workhorse. I lost some a while ago. Workhorse. My started a lawsuit against UPS that won't go anywhere, in my opinion. Yeah, I know they're trying to press the Congress and override the decision, but I think there's other bets for sure. Where's the bear market again? No bear market, sir. We don't want a bear market for sure, but we never know when the bear market can happen. Like, it's always funny. People are like, oh, what's a bear market? A bear market is, depending on how you look at it, on slower economic growth or negative economic growth over a 6 month time period, and or at least a 6 month time period. It doesn't always say, oh, the stock market has to go down 30% and then it's a bear market kind of scenario. A couple of the ones I did want to talk about. People have been talking about Snap. Snap has been a very choppy market. Again, this was a very high growth that we saw in 2020 into early 21. Kind of coming back here to that $60 range. We've seen that kind of, you can just really just isolate this like trading range here. Basically, I can't draw straight lines because I'm terrible person. It's kind of been hitting that $65 range up here, and up here. But at the same time, we have that 144 EMA just kind of continuously kind of giving some support here around 50, a little bit more support here around 52 to 55 here. But we have some short-term support coming in around $60 here. So we'll definitely can see how Snap plays out. But again, with some choppy market that we potentially could see this week, I think that we could see it to have some fun for sure. Joe says, hey, Ken, how about WBA? How far down do you see them going? WBA, that's Walgreens, right? Is that Walgreens? WBA. 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 Thank you, Fat Fingers. Yeah, I don't see. This thing was trending pretty nice here. Really, again, it was kind of holding this pattern here around $53 to $54 here, but it just kind of made a pretty large jolt down. Again, industrials got hit hard. A lot of these kind of packaging stuff got hit hard. We are looking in the short term to potentially see if that $50 level can hold here for the old Walgreens. I did have a position in this, just a little tiny bit left over. We got into this one. Actually, I don't want to say I call the bottom, but we got into this around that $40 range here and got into it a little bit on the way up. But this has definitely been a fun one to kind of hold here. Initially looking for some support here around $50 even. If not, this thing could easily kind of been chopping around here a little bit again. But to iterate it again, I think we can definitely going to see some chop or some volatility enter the market this week. So keep your helmets on. Alpaca, what's up, my dude? GWRS, yes. I am actually going to be doing a video on this one for sure. So this is about the global crisis in the sense of Alpaca at it again. Longtime member, fantastic individual, smart dude, on the sense of he is the one who brought PLTR to me. He's the one who brought these water stocks to me, which I didn't even. I've heard about like this drought stuff in the South, in the United States, in the Southwest, but not to the full extent. And once I start reading about it, on potential these shortages and how literally water has to be transported into these areas, and how farmers are told you cannot water your crops because of the really just the shortage of water is going forth here. With these companies, again, potentially with the demand here, the prices for water and again, supply and demand, basic economics would potentially could see this kind of skyrocket here. This thing has been a little bit choppy here in the past here. We're seeing some around that $17 range kind of hold here. We have some initial support on the short term around 16. Again, I'm not putting my whole life savings in this one, but this is like a 3 to 4% of the portfolio of holdings, and maybe seeing this one to potentially kind of move higher here. Giving you just some very basic, I don't know why my fibs disappeared on this one. Fibonacci levels for some price targets here. We're going to be looking for at least $20 to be taking some profits initially around that target there, and then potentially seeing it hit $23 to $24 if we see that upward momentum, which we're kind of looking for and projecting out. Yeah, another one that we always talk about in the Discord. So again, the Discord again is I think it's a link here within the chat box here. You can just kind of click on that and join completely free. MNMD, this one has kind of been somewhat of a meme stock slightly, but this is again this a drug, new way of pharmaceuticals, really kind of helping people with anxiety, people with PTSD, people with different other various mental capacities of just stress, like we just talked about the PTSD and trauma, and just people with end of life care as well. So with this one, very choppy here, very risky as well. In the short term, we're looking for some support here around 340 to around 332. Sorry, 344 to around 325 here, to be some levels of support here. But this thing could be bouncing around left and right. This is just going to be a very choppy chart, but in the long term, I definitely I see some potential within the stock without a doubt. Makeshift, yeah, I can definitely see that on Snap. So Snap's going to be a little bit more of like a defined risk trade. So potentially buying calls like 60 days out and willing, let's say if I pay $5 for those calls, willing to maybe a 10 to 15% loss on those before I would cut them. But again, with the volatility and chop that I see in the market next week or so, I want to be a little bit hesitant and be very particular when you start picking your price targets there. PLTR, yeah, this is one that like everyone just kind of forgot about alpaca. Like people just like, you know what, like I'm done with PLTR, and that's great. More people get out of PLTR, fantastic. It's less in the news, more people kind of promoting the pump and dump kind of things. And now we're seeing it kind of really build a very nice upward trend here, alpaca. We're seeing it hold the 8 EMA and just continue to climb here. We're looking for some targets to kind of seeing it somewhat ceiling resistance around 26.70 to around that $27 range, and seeing this potentially kind of move higher within that range or break out, maybe get a pullback here. Again, this is a longer term play here, so this thing is definitely going to see some chop. All the stuff that we saw over here was completely insane kind of activity, so I still have that price target here around $36 to $35 for the year. We're almost at that half year mark. We're past the half year marker now. Anything can happen, right? But that's kind of a dying move there. So more or less, I kind of need to update my price target on that one. It's definitely going to be looking for potentially the lower end of the $30 range, maybe that $31 to $32 range. I need to do some more fibs and do some more homework on that one. Yeah, we did TRCH quite a bit here. Definitely a crazy FOMO pandemic or parabolic breakout. I was in the other room, but I was still listening. Workhorse is on the top three of the most short squeeze. That's why I see them trying to make the market come back. Anyone has missed the AMC boat. Okay. Yeah, I definitely can see that, Johnny Bravo. Yeah, if you're playing it for the short squeeze, you got to kind of keep it on a short leash, definitely on the pullbacks. So just be very careful on that one. Do you do crypto charts too? Not really, Joe. I look at Bitcoin every once in a while. I do own some cryptos. Of course, we're seeing Bitcoin slightly below here, around that $35,000 range. We talked about that $35,000 to $34,000 range quite some time here, and being some levels of resistance there. If this really does break and we see cryptos kind of fall out of the sky here, I think we can easily see it break below 30,000 and hit 27,000 pretty fast here. Again, we know how cryptos are very volatile. They jump around quite a bit here, and they are very difficult to kind of be to look at for some people to potentially hold. It's not the kind of just a sit and forget kind of scenario that people that kind of trade this. Goldman Sachs, please. Yeah, we can look at Goldman. So, Gordon, a lot of the banks did kind of get a pullback, this week. Again, a lot of the financial stocks, again, they were expecting a potential raise. They sadly did not get it. I own XLF, which is a larger ETF that trades a lot of the stocks for it, so not tied to one particular bank. We saw here that 34 EMA potential levels of support here multiple times on the way up. Of course, we've kind of broke that here, and now we're looking for some initial support to kind of potentially come here around that 340 range in Goldman Sachs. So if 340 in the short term does not hold here, so the expected move for the week here is about $15. So that is potentially in the deck of cards even lower here. But initially speaking here, those targets potentially could be looking for lower prices here again. Once we start getting a little bit more solid ground here, this is a pretty large pullback. This could be profit taking from all those other previously upward trends. We don't know the whole story, right? But again, that 340 initially, the short-term support, and then that 330 to around that 320 range could be a potential. I'm trying to draw a trampoline here. I don't know why I draw X's on it. So that's a trampoline. We potentially couldn't get like maybe not a trampoline, maybe some cardboard boxes and kind of land into those to kind of get like a smooth sailing from that. Ken, what are your thoughts on TMS? That's T-Mobile, right? I like it. I think a lot of people are playing this for like the 5G kind of movement. I actually like this one back here around that 130 range. But once it kind of broke out of the last earnings report, it's just kind of been continuously grinding higher and just been pretty significantly moving higher here. We saw it reach that 140 range, which was the initial first target, and then that next target at 160 or 147, which has been kind of been beating around at this. Initially speaking, this is still a continuously nice upward trend here, Kelly D. So we're just kind of looking for this initially in the short term around 144 to 145 to hold, with some significant support coming in around 140 if it does pull back. Again, this is not like a Tesla or Bitcoin where it's going to be crazy volatile, but if the market does want to go lower, this is definitely going to take T-Mobile with it without a doubt. I heard some Soros dump PLTR in order to buy VAIC. It went down to $18 a share when he did. Not sure why he thinks that VAC will do an Archibald's fallout. Yeah, that again. Yeah, that was it a Hong Kong hedge fund or something like that that went batshit crazy last, or it seems like last year, but it was just this year. Where they had like 5 or 6 leverage on some stocks that they just couldn't keep up with. Viacom. So this again had that huge run higher. Like this is literally was sadly manipulated. I think people know that now. This thing was just really just bought up here synthetically, and just kind of just when the man was revealed behind the curtain kind of scenario, it just kind of fell out of the sky here, finding some kind of like a heartbeat here. But I really don't like these kind of looking, these huge like trend higher like stair stick. This is literally what a uh, um, fear of missing out, FOMO, trades look like. It's just like a really steep staircase higher, and then an elevator shaft down, and then no heartbeat for quite some time here. So I'm a little just hesitant on that one. Johnny Bro says, "Hey Ken, by chance, do you remember the guy named Ryan that used to say SPY to 420 all the time? His time frame just wasn't right." Ryan's still on the channel. Like, he talks about 420 for sure, but we'll see. His time needs to come in today, this week, right? To get that SPY to 420 higher here for sure. 100%. You always have to, in trading, first of all, you have to understand that anything can happen, or in trading and investing, anything can happen. If you own Tesla, you could have, sadly, Elon Musk fall off, drive one of the plaid Teslas around, and it gets in an accident. God forbid. That Tesla's going to drop on that substantially, for sure. You have to be ready for anything and be open to anything. Let's leave it at that. You have to be open for anything to happen in the stock market. So yeah. AAL got crushed. Yeah. Airlines did get a little beat up again. Sorry, AAL, it didn't really get too crushed. It's finding some, again, the last like week and a half has not been very happy, or not been a happy place for the Jets airlines. So if you look at the ticker symbol Jets for the ETF, it's coming into some level of support here around that $24 to $25 range. So with AAL, that kind of falls into that scenario as well. Kind of a little bit more choppy here than overall the airline stuff, but that is coming into around that $22-ish range for that level support, initially speaking here. In the short term, if that doesn't hold, we're going to easily see it break to 21 to even that $20 range there, without a doubt. Joe, what's the ticker for Sony again? I always forget that one. And then T-Doc, T-Doc, yeah, this is definitely one that has been, sadly, Kathy Wood's been buying this quite a lot. I don't know how much she's bought of this lately, but this is definitely one that has been really ransacked over this whole movement out of the pandemic stocks. I don't know if you saw me do air quotes. We're coming into that, potentially that 150 range is some level of support here. So we zoom out to the weekly chart here, that is falling into that 144 EMA, the 144 EMA here, potentially finding some level of support here if we do see some consolidation going through here, if we can kind of see some positive movement in any of this range here. Again, this thing has definitely been beaten up quite a bit here. Not saying it's overvalued or undervalued, but it's definitely something that has been beat up quite a bit here. So if I go to the weekly chart here, the RSI is not screaming undervalued there for sure. Let's do a couple more. Chris was asking for BA. Yeah, BA has also been one that's been very choppy here over the short term here, over the daily chart, kind of playing like the jet stocks, kind of just bouncing around in between two fib numbers, looking for some initial support coming in around that 230 to around that 225 range if we do see it kind of pull back there. Let's see here. What do you think about Wish stock? What is, oh, I know, and yeah, that's definitely one that the folks on Wall Street are popping up. What is the Wish ticker symbol? Is it just W? No, that's what's Wayfair been doing? Wow, Wayfair's been in trend for sure. This has been bouncing around. What's the MMM? What is Wish stock? Wish stock. What is it? Oh, it's just Wish. Oh, that makes it easy, right? ER. I think this is the right one, if I'm thinking this right. Yeah, again, it did have that pop here if we're talking about that people are short, squeeze, so forth kind of things there. We'll see how this one plays out. Looking for some initial support here around $10.60 to $10.50. Again, very high volume here, right? Very much is being pumped up for whatever reasons here. People just want to put money into Wish. They changed to SNE. And it's not loading for there, my friend. Due diligence. Yeah, I own Desktop Metals. I own Desktop Metals. Love it. It's been a bumpy ass ride, but I got into it pretty early on. Bought a little bit here around when it broke like 16.15 again. But yeah, this thing is definitely kind of building somewhat of a base here around $12 to $13 range. I think it's fantastic technology. Definitely something on the long term for me as well. It's my long-term account. It's not my trading account. I just own the stock here. So looking for this one potentially. The next level of resistance in the short term would be around that 15, 30-ish range if we do see that bump higher there, with some pretty significant support around 11.50 to around that $11 range there. Oh, Schmidt says PM. Yeah, Philip Morris cigarettes. Yeah. Again, I always laugh at this, not because it's silly or dumb, but cigarette companies, everyone's known that cigarettes are bad, right? But they're still somehow have a fantastic market here. Looking here on the weekly chart, this has gone gangbusters. It's hit our first target here around $100. If this trend wants to kind of continue and making its groove higher here, we're going to be looking for 110 to 111 would be the next target higher, with some short-term support coming in around 97 and then some stronger support coming in around $90 there. Let's do a couple more. AMD got a nice bump, AMD to 100. I sure do hope so. AMD, I've been a long-term shareholder of this one. Had some calls on this one, kind of got busted out of it due to its sideways action here. Looking for a potential move higher here. Really want to see it break $90 first. Of course, it has to break 90 before it gets 100, of course. In this world that we live in, we would need to see that kind of come through here. But again, we are seeing some more volume come in here, so this is good. Potentially getting that little price bump out here to around that $90 plus range there. No from the ticker SONN. Sorry for the confusion. Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. I misread it. Yeah, Sony Group. I think this is like a sponsored. Yeah, it is a sponsored one, so it's not always the greatest looking at it. Very choppy here. I don't know why they released the PlayStation 5. Everyone loves it. I just know there's a huge shortage of it. Potentially looking here, you make a pretty good point here, honestly. It looks like that $95 range potentially could be some short-term support here. A little bit early here, want to maybe build a base here for like a week and a half or so. If it does hold around 95, maybe even break into that low here around 92. But yeah, it's looking a little weak here, but that doesn't mean it needs to be bought hand over fist right now. I would actually short PM as a pairs trade versus MO. So long MO, short PM. Yeah, that's a very contrarian bet there, Fernando. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a contrarian bet, and just playing the odds. Gurus are just gonna buy Amazon because it's going to break out if the Fed doesn't hurl the market this week. What's your thoughts on dollar and bonds raising as fast as they did last March? I don't follow the dollar or the where did it go? I thought I had an indicator. I always get my. Oh, that's my Japanese yen. Euro. DYX. The dollar index. Yeah. So the dollar index. Definitely something that has been on the rise here. So this is just looking at money sign DXY. So this is a dollar USD index cash. So looking at this one potentially jumping higher here. Initially looking for around $93. Again, don't get hung up on the numbers here, but wherever this last hump is right here is what we're going to be looking for some potential targets to kind of see if it does kind of hold at those levels, breaks down or breaks down there, breaks up or breaks down at those levels there. And then at, oh, I almost knocked my coffee over. So TLT, this thing has gone gangbusters. Like we talked about this one a little bit here, buying here around 140 here. I know we talked about this one on the Discord quite a bit here. This has been breaking out here, even though people have been a little bit hesitant on it. This is definitely, I think it's not even, I don't want to consider this a dead cat bounce yet, because it does have some validity here. Initially looking for TLT to really meet that target. It broke past that falling 30-40 EMA here. If we get that 8 with any kind of momentum and more buying into here, we definitely can see this one pop up to 150 plus in the short term. Yeah, MO has a great dividend for sure. Krista says Pepsi's at the top of a range breakdown coming soon. Pepsi's PEP, right? Yeah, on the weekly chart, maybe it did get hit with all the other industrials this week. We hit that 147 to 148 range. Did make somewhat of a strong move down here. Potentially looking here again into unknown territory with a lot of the other stuff. We're definitely going to be looking for some levels around 144 to around 142 of little support there. Yeah, Fernando, I understand that, like the epicenter stocks and so forth, but this is something to definitely look out on. You're going to be buying puts on this stuff. 100%. I don't follow the dollar and the TLT that close as a lot of other people. I more or less look at like the basic markets like S&P 500. I look at gold. I look at the Nasdaq, and I look at the Russell. And everything's kind of coming down, kind of beaten down. Maybe taking a break. Maybe we can get a stronger correction of 3 or 4% on the overall market. 3 to 5%. Let's see how that plays out this week, but definitely going to be chop and volatility, I say for sure this week. They are saying they will get inflation and gold sells off. I know, isn't that crazy? Like when people are saying that gold's considered the inflation hedge, but that has been really dragged down here. If you look at the gold futures, right? Like it's not making sense. We're like in the upside down world. Thanks. Love the stream. Always stop though when I can. One last one I'll throw out there is CRSR. Yeah, Corsair. This is CRSR. This was a meme stock as well that we saw play out last week. We talked about one on the live stream last week. Really popped higher here. Kind of consolidating here around that $32 to $34 range. We'll see on how this one plays out. Yeah, not too much to say anything about that. Alpaca says, good luck this week, brother. You as well, my friend. Plug earnings this week. Yeah, I did see that actually. I've been watching that one a little bit here. Very weird kind of stock here. Potentially, we'll see how this one plays out again. I don't like to play earnings plays like this, but might have some volatility here with this one without a doubt. Market was ahead of the Fed. Smart money. Smart money is always ahead of the Fed, right, Fernando? Smart money, smart money, smart money. They know what they're doing. They got the research. They got the tools. They got their ear to the grindstone. They got it all in play for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart on coming by on this one. Before we leave, let's look at a couple more the basic industries here. Looking here at the ES, I'll go on the NAS or the S&P 500, almost down at 0.5% now at about 18 points here. A little bit more chop coming into this week here. Again, we talked about this one quite a bit here of seeing some volatility enter the market. We have the Fed talking on Tuesday, I believe, and on the not really any significant earnings, but it's just this time period, historically speaking, has been volatile during the summer months. This is not like the sell in May, go away. This is kind of like the gloomy period where we kind of see some rebounding there with potentially the markets and really seeing the leaders lead there. Guys, okay, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you haven't already, jump over to the Discord, say hello, post about your favorite stock to other traders and investors, and everyone's very kind over there, so they'll give their God honest opinion, and just don't be too sensitive, right? All right, guys, ladies, have a great trading week, and I hopefully will see you guys soon. Peace.